Yowzy, yowzy, yowzy. It's Thursday again. I love Thursday. I don't mind making videos, but it's not as much fun as having you guys here. And I'm glad I got Taylor here. You are here, right?
I'm here. Yep.
He's here. Taylor takes care of all the chat. I would love to talk to you guys more. You guys really start churning up the conversation at the end of the show. And I have to catch up after the show. And it's like, Taylor and I have a whole conversation about what you guys are conversing with Taylor about. Glad to see all of you here. We got Mark and Velmore and Monty, my regulars. God, you guys, the underdog. It's you guys that make the show, my regular standbys, my subscribers. I love you guys. Hello, Velmore. I have become death. There's a name you don't hear too often. You brought us a stock that was a little outside of our range, but then you gave us another one. So we are going to go with that LVGN of yours. Who else has come here? Valentino Persuti. You wouldn't happen to be Italian, would you? Just a guess. Glad to have you. I did get your ticker in. Yours is the last ticker that I have chosen to do pre-due diligence on. After Valentino, there's the, why was it so hard the first time? Valentino's RVCLF. It is Taylor's choice. She's going to go through and look at the stocks that you're bringing in. Come on, folks, bring us some hot stocks, not stocks that you necessarily own. We're not looking for light at the end of the tunnel. We're looking for hot stocks we can all make money on. This morning in Discord, we were flying, folks. FFIE. We caught that early. We rolled that all the way up on different stairs. Holo, HOLO. My God, another one that was running hard today. I think it's still running. They keep hitting new highs. You just keep going up and up. These are the sort of stocks we're looking at. Now, I'm not talking about rocket stocks all the time, but stocks that have got something going on. That's what we're looking for because we don't want to sit around wasting our time as day traders. So I do have 6 of your stocks already lined up. One of them came to me through a Twitter request that came in this morning. I took that gladly. Yes, I will take your request wherever you bring them to me. Let's get this in order. First one we're going to take a look at comes to us from Thebes 118. He wants to look at Nightscope KSCP. It's a lot like AITX. They work with all these different sort of robots, all based around security. They are working with residential security, but mostly it's commercial industrial security that they're working with. KSCP, she finished today at 25.18 cents. She's down about 7%. She is on the NASDAQ. These penny stocks on the major exchange have a lot of benefits. First off, they're safer. There's a lot more rules on the major exchange. And though they're a pain in the butt, it keeps our investments safe. Plus, you can trade pre-market, aftermarket. Huge opportunities there. Even if you're not up pre-market, you can still put in standing orders to sell if she has a huge pop and falls back down before the bell. You don't go, darn, I missed it. Plus, there is no transaction fees. That's one you don't want to forget about. Try scaling in and scaling out on the OTC. Buy in multiple times to build up your position and selling out little at a time to take gains as she's climbing. You're losing a lot of money for transaction fees. You don't have to deal with that. You could literally buy one share of a stock to try to make it go up. A lot of people do, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. So KSCP, let's take a look at some information about this company. As I said, the company deals with robots. They've got their own styles. You've got the big one that rolls around parking lots, inside malls, up and down streets, at the zoo, stuff like that. These are outfitted now with AI. Everything is being outfitted with AI. It has got multiple cameras, not just one, so it can see all the way around at all times. Has communication. It can talk to you, and then people can actually talk to you through it. People are watching you through it. It has all sorts of capabilities, as does the Hemisphere. I like the Hemisphere. It's one of those cameras that goes over your head, but it's got all the stuff I just told you the robot has. It talks. It has multiple cameras that overlap. It does all sorts of things. Then they've got solar powered for your campuses, beaches, wherever you don't have power, but you've got sunlight. You can have these emergency call boxes. but they also make the call boxes so that they can hook up to electricity in normal areas as well. Of course, they're free to use and go directly to where you need them to go to. So that's what the company is doing with their products and services. Oh, God. Oh, they actually came up. Whenever it's white, that normally means everything got wiped clean. Really, I didn't have any specific news here I wanted to share with you. I could have started highlighting the hell out of this because what it is just contract after contract, a sale, expansion, more being sold to an old customer. That's what their business is. But they just don't make money selling the hardware. They sell money with the subscriptions, the software, the AI. All of that has to be brought in so that the cloud can work with all this machinery the right way. And they get paid monthly for every piece of equipment that is being operated out there. The last thing I found that I need to share with you is they had a stockholders meeting and they voted on a couple of different proposals. One of those proposals was a reverse stock split and they approved it. Of course they did. It can be anywhere from a 1 to 5 to a 1 to 50. This is at management's discretion. When they say management's discretion, they don't just mean how much, they mean when. And now that we've been told, they don't have to go out of their way and give you a news press or another filing saying, hey, we're going to do it next week. No, you'll just wake up and boom, you'll see a piece of news that said, we just did this. That's how it's done. So this is your notification right now. When it's going to happen, at their discretion. These are normally good for 12 months. All right, what was the relative volume around the company today? Down a little bit, about 1/3, yeah, roughly, going from 3.4 million shares on a daily average. She has dropped to 2.3 million. Let's see, outstanding share counts were cresting 100 million shares. I don't know what the float is, and I don't know what the insiders own, so I could calculate it. So all we know is the outstanding share count is 97, and the float can't be more than that. But it could be considerably less, considering that the insiders are going to own something. And if they own a lot, we could have a really small float here. Market cap for KSCP is just a little over 26 million. All right, financials. What is this company doing? Well, their revenues are growing over the last 4 years. Remembering 3 zeros behind any of these numbers, we're talking millions here. They went from 3 to 5 million in 2 years during COVID and then really boosted, jumped up to 12.7 million. Sad part is they haven't made a profit yet. They seem to be getting the margins closer. They were losing more money, making less money. Now they're making more money and they're losing less money. So they're closing that gap right now. Quarterly reports. Oh, okay. Well, I was looking at the revenues. It's like, okay, they're hanging around 3 million roughly, a little above, a little below. But what's going on with the profit margin? It is fluctuating all over the place right now. And they really don't seem to be in the black. Balance sheet for the company. Let's not forget those 3 zeros here too. Cash and cash equivalents. I like to think of this as the bank. Got $2.7 million there. Total assets is about 25 million. Total liabilities, about half of that, 13 million. So we do have positive stockholder equity of about 11 million. So that's a good thing. They're making revenues. We have positive stockholder equity. They're just not making a profit yet, but they're still in business. They got a lot of customers coming to them. And we've already looked at this, but let's take another peek. You never know when one may have come in when I had my back turned. 10Q and an 8K. I'm not sure which 8K it is. One of those will be the filings for the financials with the financials. It has less information in it. It's more congested, not congested. It's smaller, so it hasn't got as much in it, but it's got as much as you need to keep up. And Form 4 all the way back in July. So that's pretty much everything we got going on here. We've got a lot of competition in this market. AITX is another one of them. And these companies just keep doing more business. They are selling the heck out of their products. And there's a lot of customer base out there. There's a lot of room for growth. There is no doubt about it. The market's wide open for them. They're not getting the love that they deserve. I don't hold KSCP. I do own AITX, and I'm surprised that she doesn't hold her gains better. But that's what we get. The difference here, though, AITX, I do recall as being on the OTC, where Nightscope is on the major exchange, which is a huge difference. All right, we're going to turn this over to Taylor now, looking at ticker KSCP, and that's my job. There you go.
All right, hang on, where are we? All right, so we've looked at this a couple times, the 30th of November and then in early May. And these lines were already marked off, or this one was. This is the $1 mark. I was going to ask you about that. We haven't seen a dollar in over a year or about a year. How long do they have to come back to a dollar?
Normally, when they're warned, they have 6 months. That rule is going to change here in September. They will be given a year as a standard fix. But as it stands right now, once you're warned, and normally that can be anywhere from 30 days to 6 months. Anywhere in there, you can get your warning. Then you get 6 months from that day. But geez, if they've been under $1 for a year.
Well, the last time it touched a dollar was October 11th, 2023.
All right, I'll see what I can find while you chart out.
So this line was marked off as well. This is like around 36 cents. You can see there's support here, and then it kind of zoom in. It was kind of support here until it completely broke it, and then its 52-week low was 18 cents, and that was hit August 13th. So let's zoom in a little bit to see what's been going on lately. This was from Wednesday, August 14th on. It just had this big, explosion. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I kind of zoned out while you were talking. Sorry about that.
What day is that?
This all happened during, let's see, it looks like a little bit started during pre-market, and then it did run during the regular hours, and then a little bit more aftermarket.
What day?
The 14th of this month.
14th of this month. No, they had reseller issue 23 device purchase order the day before.
Okay.
That's about all their news is we sold another one. We sold a few more. We sold some. Okay, right. Kmart's, go for it.
So from there, this is the 1 hour chart. And I just see like there's some resistance here at about 27 cents. It's hit it several times. You can tell right there. And then today, like you said, it dropped down, I think about 7%, dropped a couple cents. So that 27-cent mark looks like a really good resistance that we would need to overcome. Looks like we're down below the 50 EMA now on the 1 hour chart. Let's look what the 15-minute looks like, what happened today. All right, so here's today. It looked pretty bearish today. Not too good, but
everything is rolling. The price, the SMAs, it's all coming to the other side of the hill. So it's coming down.
It kind of looks, if you're looking from here, and here, it looks like a head and shoulders pattern. And it looks like it played out. So, interesting. Or also a double top, if you want to look at it like that too. But you can tell right here and here, after it does that pop, it comes back to its resistance and does not go any farther. Pops, comes back to its resistance. It's done that twice now, 2 days in a row. Or 2 days, and then today it just completely fell. It did not do that pop again. So
I would not be surprised to see that break the 200 falling tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it kind of it hit it today. This is the 15-minute, like I said. So that's what we're looking at. We're down up to 25 cents. Yep, and its 52-week low was 18 cents. So keep that in mind as well.
So if you're holding it, well, maybe you can average down, but not yet. She ain't done falling. Everything is still pointing down right now. You got to wait till things start to turn and level off on the floor. Then you consider, oh, here's where I average down. She's about ready to leave this cheap zone. All right, let's jump on into our next stock then.
Okay.
This one, where are we at? I'm on the wrong page. There he is. We are looking at AABB. This comes to us from Mark Ryan. AABB. I remember way back when this was just coming onto the market. It was all about gold mining. Then they just kept getting bigger and bigger, doing all sorts of different things, even becoming a mainline company. AABB, Asia Broadband, finished the day at 0.061 cents, and she was up 0.16%. She is on the bottom tier of the OTC, pink. It's the riskiest, and they're risky because there's no validated information down here. You get very few filings. You don't get financials that are audited. They're just numbers that are tallied up by the management and given to us. We don't know what they mean. The only information that is normally verified are those two green ticks right there on this site. I don't know any other site that does this. Verified profile and a verified transfer agent. You ever want to find out what this stuff means, just click it. Go read the definition. They're important, folks. And this is being verified by the OTC markets. This is a company actually on the OTC. They are a company you can invest in. This is their business. You're looking at it right here. They got a stock promotion going on right now. Now, it's funny. Stock promotion isn't necessarily a bad, evil thing, but it gets a red tick because this is when scam alerts come out. When the company has permission to start promoting their stock, and that's what they got to do. They got to get permission and alert. Scammers jump on board and just start putting out false information. So you got to be very careful what you're reading about the company at that point in time when they have a promotion going on. Oh, man, I took away all my highlights. All right. Asia Broadband is a gold company. They are making more gold right now, making it, getting it out of the ground. We'll see that in the news. But the company moved into NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They started making these golden baboons. I do believe I have a picture for you. Very popular. I think you've probably seen these somewhere before. These NFTs are backed by gold. So they have an intrinsic value, but then they get an appreciation value, a collector's value. They only make so many of each one of these. So they're collector's items, and you own it. So it's worth the gold and the appreciative value. So that's what they have been working on. They've also got a wallet that allows you to buy and sell crypto, to transfer crypto, accept crypto, all that sort of stuff. What other things they got going on right now? Probably figure that out by looking at the news. All right, I've lost my highlights from my news. I love it when it does that. All right, it appears they had a joint venture. Don't know how long ago. I'm picking up the news here at the end of May. Asia Broadband and KYN Capital Group began implementation of their joint venture agreement to develop the Market Next Generation AABB wallet. So they're working on their wallets. They also say they are launching their third limited edition NFT collection on the Bitcoin network. I don't know if those are baboons or what. Asia Broadband begins phase 2 drilling program at the La Paz Gold Mine project. So they are working not only in the digital, but in the physical realm of gold. They're using the gold they're pulling out of the ground to create digital products that have asset value as well. Very smart business. Asia Broadband surpasses double gold production in first quarter prior to ore stockpile processing plant being completed. They've got word up here about that. They have got equipment that allows them to locate gold quickly and easily. Doesn't everybody want that? And they're bragging about how well it works. And then they've got a way of processing gold, which is much easier and faster than everybody else. And that's everything that they're working on right now. They've got a few different gold mines. They are getting gold out at a nice rate. They're surpassing expectations, making good revenues, and they're launching more NFTs because they got more gold to back them up. So this is a real good thing for the company. Broadband's next generation wallet development incorporates AI technology. Well, there you go. It was the last missing piece to the puzzle. AI is going to be in everything. Just get used to it. You're going to go to the toilet and there'll be AI in there. I don't know how, but he'll be in there. So what was the relative volume around AABB today? Woo! More than triple her normal volume. And she's doing like 20 million shares a day. She's a cheap stock, but not a sub-penny stock. So that's really good down there on the pink. Considering, let me refresh this page. All right, they tell us, is that right? Okay, wow, I was going to say that was low. Up here, I'm looking. We have the shares that were sold on the entire OTC market. All the shares for 12,200 companies. We did 3 billion shares. Now, before you go thinking that's a big number, back before COVID, it was 60 to 70 billion shares a day. Companies were doing 1,000, 2,000 trades a day. Now there are companies that get 0 trades a day. There just aren't enough shares to go around. We did 3 billion. This company got 77 million of them. So start divvying them all out. Let's see, share structure for AABB. Ooh, kind of high. I remember that about the stock. We're at 3.3 billion. They've got 3.6 billion total that they can put on the market or use for currency, use to make deals. They don't have a lot left. They've got less than, about 210 million shares left. 3.3 billion on the market. Insiders own a mere 154 million. We get all the rest, 3.2 billion. My biggest fear, obviously, is that they do a reverse stock split. I mean, they've got all the shares. They're at a decent price. I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet. The company's dealing with gold mining. I would think they'd want their stock in front of a bigger audience. They're over a penny. They could easily be on the QB. The problem is, well, let's see about their disclosures. Yeah, see, they'd have to go to SEC reporting. You go to SEC reporting, you got to do 10Ks, 10Qs. You got to start telling us more information about your financials. Where's all that money going? How much do you get? How many people are invested? We don't have any of that information with this company. Being on a pink makes everything skeptical. You take everything with a grain of salt, especially the bloody news presses. The news presses aren't monitored by the SEC or FINRA, and they can word them very specifically so that we read what they didn't write because they wanted us to read between the lines. So you've got to be careful. I'm telling you this out of experience. I've lost over $50,000 on pink news presses. Trust the filings, folks. Filings are recorded with agencies. News presses really aren't. The financials. What's this company doing cash-wise? Well, 4 years ago when NFTs were hot, they were doing $22 million. Dropped down to 2 million, 3 million, lower 1.7, and now we're coming back up 7.1 million. I don't know if that's from the gold, probably is. There's not a lot of interest in NFTs right now. People don't have extra money to just throw at an NFT, with inflation and everything going on. Quarterly reports. They're growing. We've had some bouncing here like a chart does. Then she jumped up to 14, doubling from the quarter before. She's tagged on another 200,000 on top of that. And the nice thing is she's bringing home most of that as profit. 1.3 million out of 1.6. That's real good. Looking at her balance sheet, got lots of money in the bank for a penny stock, over 57 million bucks, 118 million in assets. Chump change. Look at the liabilities. Ain't even $1 million. So we've got virtually $118 million in stockholder equity here. Now, the bad part is if you want to figure out what the stock price could be based on assets, take all the shares, the outstanding shares, what was it, 3.3 billion? Take that and divide it into that number, 117 million. That's close to what the price of the stock could be based on assets. And disclosures, let's see, we got our quarterly reports. We just had one come out 11 days ago. If you want to know what's going on with the company, I'm sure there's a lot of information to be known about this company. Go into the quarterly report. Now, it's not going to be a 10K or a 10Q. It's not going to have as much information, but it's going to have more than you're going to find on Google. It's going to have more than you find in their news presses. So that would be where I'd go. And down here, we got nothing since 2009. And what do I say? Trust the filings. Bloody heck. Give us some filings to trust. So this company, I like what they do. I like their revenues. The company's been around for a while. I really haven't heard anything bad about them. But again, pink, I always take with a grain of salt. All right, Taylor, what's AABB's chart look like?
We had a question for you in the chat asking what your thoughts were of the CEOs because you interviewed one of them.
I interviewed a CEO of AABB.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading the.
Right, I know. No, I'm not even saying that to you. I'm just kind of saying that to the world out there. I don't remember that. I don't think I've ever talked to AABB. Maybe I have. I've talked to a few, but if I did, I totally forgot. So I honestly have no thoughts about the CEO. I only normally look at the
Oh,
management when
never mind. Never mind. They were asking about your thoughts of the the stock CEOS. My bad.
oh, gotcha. Yeah,
Well, we were
CEO.
talking about it, and then that just looked like it was a question,
Fair
and it
enough.
sounded like something you would have interviewed. My
I
bad.
would I would have had they come
Exactly.
around.
So it just sounded right. Okay. So you can talk about that
CEOS,
in a
we'll
second.
save that for later.
Yeah, we'll save that for later.
Wow. What a chart.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the daily chart, and I have it on regular candles so we can actually see what's going on with these little. I mean, there are gaps, and then today,
Wow.
we had a nice pullback, and it came right back up. I mean, this
And
is
what a gap
really, really.
tells you is it's had pre-market or aftermarket activity.
Yeah.
Those
So I'm
gaps
going
is where it's
to.
moving.
Yeah.
The dark
So
zone.
here's what's been going on there.
What a
Let's see. So
nice
starting, let's see.
bounce.
These are still regular candles. I'm just looking to see there. It started running way back here, like in July. It's been really running. I marked this off. This is like 2.5 cents. You can see this is a little bit of a support. I've seen it hit this several times. So I marked this off. But then ever since it looks like August 14th, it just started taking off. And okay, so this is going to be pre-market hours. Just a little bit. Most of it is looks like it's during the day. This is
Boy, it really
pre-market.
doesn't matter. She is going parabolic. And
Yeah,
then
I mean, I'm just trying to look and see. The biggest run it looks like was just the end of the day, Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and pre-market yesterday.
I like
And
that chart. That big
yeah,
drop right there is beautiful.
yeah, this
That's
was during
holding
pre-market today.
it up.
That's what happened today. So, and then it came right back up.
Right
Look at
back.
that.
Right back. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
she's starting to push. She hit her 20, which is what I look for. I look for a tag on the 20. If it breaks to 20, it's got some work to do. But if it just comes down to the 20, its cousin, its next door neighbor, and says, hey, I just need a cup of sugar,
Yeah,
it's off.
it's a
That's
really
looking good.
hot chart.
What is that? The 1 hour?
That's the 1 hour. Let's do 15-minute. And I can put this back. Whoops. Whoops. Takanashi. There we go. It's a 15-minute now.
That's not looking bad. I mean, she
Mm-mm.
respected the 50. She's dipped under it like a cat crouching, getting ready to pounce, and she's
Mm-hmm.
jumping right now. And I'm looking down at your oscillators, and even them look all good. 200 looks good. I'm liking that chart.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, so
Go back up.
if you're looking for a play for tomorrow, this one's looking strong. It's been climbing for a long time, and she's got
Mhm.
strength. She's in good position. She's taken her dip. So I'd put this on my watch list. If you're looking for plays tomorrow, this is one that definitely qualifies. Let us move on to number 3 then. Who is this? POFCY, Petrofac. I think that's how it's pronounced. This came to me by way of Velmore. Petrofac, she finished today just under a dime, little over 9.5 cents, and she was climbing today, hit just about 5.25%. She is on the pink tier, actually the pink limited tier. It is the riskiest tier, but pink limited is even riskier because it means she's late on financials. We don't know how many. If you're late on your financials for too long, we can't even see them here, they will throw you down to the expert market. Now, it's not a delisting. It's like hockey. It's a penalty box. You get taken out of the game, and you're out of the game until you get your financials caught up. And if you're invested in them, you're out of the game as well. You can't buy or sell the shares for the most part until they're back on the market. Look at this. We have no information over here about financials. Not old, not new, not late. No filings are going to be late. We have absolutely zip here, which was something I discovered as I was looking around. We'll get to that though. Petrofac. This is a leading international service provider to the energy industry. We use our engineering know-how and our consultancy expertise to design, build, and operate world-class energy facilities that are engineered for safety, optimal efficiency, and low emissions. Now, they're working around the world, as I was seeing by bits and pieces I was looking at, but they're doing a lot more than building facilities. So I'm presuming. Right here, I started poking my head into these pieces of news. 2 gigawatt program powering sustainable future, first kind waste to fuel plant, Aerosmith hydrogen project in Australia. They've got a project, a hydrogen project in Australia called Aerosmith. So they're doing a lot of different things here. So this deserves some more looking into. It looks like a company that's working with alternative energy, and they're building whatever sort of plants. And it looks like they're starting to work with waste as well. Now, okay, my highlights are gone, but I remember there was no news over at the OTC. This is just bare over here. We don't have any financials. This news is from 2019. We got nothing over here. There's just no information whatsoever. So I went over to Google and I did find some news. Petrofac secures feed contract for Total Energies in Netherlands. Petrofac to engineer CO2 injection platform for North Sea Aramis project. Petrofac expands scope with Total Energies on flagship Aramis project. So we see they're doing things. I haven't gone all the way back, but I see recently they've got new deals working around the world, building these big facilities. So what was the relative volume around the company today? Ow. All right, she's under the radar as it is, but she is down there on the pinks. She's done about 455,000 shares a day over the last 30 days. Today, she only did 118,000 shares. Ooh, that's way down there. That could be one purchase. Share structure. Yeah, it ain't bad. 362 million. Let's just call it an average float. Nothing to complain about, nothing to brag about. Have no clue what the insiders own. Don't know what the float is. All we know is the float won't be higher than that and could be considerably less. Market cap, we're at about 66 million. Are they making any money? Well, they don't even tell us that. So without any financials, without any news, without any numbers, the best I could do was to jump over here to Yahoo. I jumped into their financials hoping to find something. Well, I did, but it's kind of outdated. The closest we get is 2022. We have nothing for 2023. We can see that I do believe I got to add 3 zeros to all of these numbers. So we're in the billions. These are billions, not millions. 2019, we're at 5 billion. 20 down to 4. 21 down to 3. 2022 down to 2. Think we're down to 1? That's the way it looks. Now, this TTM, I don't know if this is for right now. It's supposed to be. That is trailing 12 months. Now, where they get this information, since we can't see it anywhere else, I don't know. But they're telling us here that over the last 12 months, the company's done $2.5 billion worth of business. I don't know if that's true. We don't have any information here. Maybe if we go diving through each piece of news, maybe they say something about their financials in there. But it is a dark hole in that vicinity here. So that's about all I can tell you about this company. There's not anything else available without a deep dive. And I didn't check Twitter. Maybe
Was there anything from May 21st?
I don't know. I have no news. I have no.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I got a blank board here. So that was as much as I could give you. The fact that she's rising is interesting. You know, I'm thinking chart setup. What's the reason she's rising? Which is your cue. Let me get you up there.
Okay. Well, this is why I asked. We did look at this on May 23rd, which was right here. And this is what happened on May 21st. And as you can, this is the daily chart, by the way. And as you can see, tapered off. So let's zoom in a little bit.
A lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what's been going on since then. I mean, we did have this happened in July, went up to like 14 cents. But then it comes right back down, and you can just see it's kind of just, it's slowly coming up.
Right.
But it's still just kind of right in this.
It's slow and steady, which there's nothing wrong with slow and steady. It's not going to jerk the rug out from underneath you. So, you know, if you're a new trader looking for a stock that's rising because you're just itching to get into something,
Yeah, this normal
this
came up
one
with
probably
36.
won't steal your money. You know, it's not an exciting chart, but I think she's working up to that high, that big bounce that she just
Yeah, I'm
had.
trying to see what, I mean, we really haven't had a lot of, but it's an OTC stock, so you're gonna have to pay to get in this. That's the thing.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah, I mean, I'm just like looking around here. This is the 15-minute, by the way.
She's
I
got a
mean,
what are those bounces going from say the 200 up to a high wick?
okay, so like starting from here, we'll say like
Yeah.
0.0874 up to 11 cents.
Okay, so we're talking about 50% if you can catch the floor and get to a high. So you
Yeah,
got some bounces in there you could scalp. You could scalp if you're
you
looking
could.
for a day trade. But I think there's better stocks to play if you're looking
Yeah,
for a
I do
day trade.
too. It's not really all that interesting right now, but I mean, these big bounces, I'm wondering, or these big jumps, I'm wondering what was going on then.
I
Because I
would go
mean, this
doing a
one went all
search
the way
at
up to
that date.
14 cents.
Yeah, yeah, I'd want to know what got it running.
After all of this consolidation, look at this down here and just shoo, and then
Yeah,
the one back in
somebody put the decimal point in the wrong place on their order.
okay, yeah, is that what maybe? Because this is just crazy. This went all the way up to $3.27.
And that chart is what? That's the daily.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
then
can,
these 2 days it was just under $1. I mean,
and it's underneath the 200 here on your
yes,
daily chart. She's
way
definitely got,
under. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. She's not a very exciting chart. She's slow. She is moving up gradually. We can't say she's a, you know, a sad sack, but as a day trader, that looks good. I mean, it looks, you can see she's putting herself into a better position. She
Mhm.
could surprise us, but what she needs is more information. Seems to me investors are trading in the dark right now. We got no fundamentals on this company. All we got is that
Yeah.
news. So I'd go read that news. That's all we've got on this company.
The volume's just kind of blah, unless there's something kind of really happening. But right now it's just kind of, yeah, we need more news
We
or a
need
catalyst,
more.
something. Yeah, we need
More.
more.
Speaking of more, I got more. It's more
Okay.
interesting than this. Nothing personal. If you gave me that stock, if I ever say anything bad about a
Oh no,
stock,
of course
please,
not. Yeah.
no, I'm not talking to you, Taylor. I'm talking to our soft investors out there.
Oh yeah, no, I was agreeing. Like, of course, I'm not trying to say anything bad either. I was
A
just
lot
like,
of investors start protecting their stocks like a wife or a girlfriend, and they don't even want to hear you
yeah.
say anything bad about them. Folks, we got to be
I
honest.
don't mean to say anything bad either. I'm just saying.
But we've got to be honest. If we're not
Hmm.
being honest, you can lose money like that. We ain't here to hype up a stock. We're not being friends with these stocks. These are money making opportunities, and that's all we see them as. And if it doesn't look good, and I think it stinks, I'm going to tell you, I think it stinks. Nothing personal. Next one we got to look at. This is IDVV. I do believe we looked at this not too long ago. I believe it was Velmore that said we looked at this a few weeks ago because she
3 weeks
asked for it.
ago, yeah.
Somebody else asked for it. This came from the Underdog. We looked at this, I remember. They just got into AI. They were working on various products. And what they wanted to bring out was a gambling app. We'll get into that. IDVV, International Endeavors Corps. This is out of California. Finished today at a brilliant buy price, 001. So if you're confident this stock is going to climb, look, folks, you buy at 001. 002 is 100% gain. You just doubled your money. By the time she hits 005, when you're thinking about getting in, you've already made 500% on this purchase right here. I'm loving this point right here. You make the fastest quick gains you're ever going to get on these charts. She was up 11% today. She didn't go far. She went up 0001, but that's all it took to get her into the 00 zone. She too is on the pink tier on the OTC, got the validated information that we can hope for. So what can we learn about this company? Well, let's see what we've got over here. As I said, they were working on an AI-powered gamblers app. Before we jump into that news press, which has got everything we need, They announced they retired 550 million common shares at the beginning of the year. That was a great thing. That's a lot of shares to be getting out of there. And then they start talking here about a lot of corporate updates. And we looked at a corporate update the last time we looked at this, and that's really what we're doing now. It's just the most recent one. I love these corporate updates. It makes my due diligence quick and easy. International Endeavors, a technology holdings company, announced that its WeTech AI division launched a one-of-a-kind artificial intelligence powered sports handicap assistant today. This isn't an app you bet with. It tells you which ones you should be betting on. It tells you which ones are going to win, which ones are going to lose. Supposedly, it's a little more complicated than just that. There's information you have to digest, but they say they've simplified it. They said it was made just for handicappers, which give bets, and it was difficult. Now they say they've made it easy. They've just launched it here in September. It's coming out for NFL. They're going to have the hockey and basketball launching in October, but they want to cover all of the sports, all of them. They're going to be charging $77 per league. You want to do football? That's $77. You want to do hockey? $77. You want to do all the sports and not nitpick? You can get everything for $247 a year. So that's what we got going on here. What was the relative volume around IDVV? Down a little bit. She dropped from about 34 million shares a day over the last 30 days to about 28.5 million. Share structure for International Endeavors. 1.4 billion shares. Insiders own near about 250 million. We get all the rest, 1.25 billion. Yes, we have to concern ourselves about a reverse stock split. And when I say that, there could be one already voted on. We just looked at a stock that just voted on it. They've got a year to use it. That's going to go in the back burner on the filing shelf, and you're never going to hear about it. They're not going to keep talking about this. 8 months from now, you forgot. Maybe you never even knew. And then boom, they do a reverse stock split. And it's like, what the heck? I didn't see no news press. I told you, they're not going to tell you about it. They could have approved one. Always go back to the last shareholder meeting and see if they approved a stock split. You could be sitting in a hot seat getting into a company. When these sub-penny stocks start getting close to a penny, we are seeing lots of them do reverse stock splits. They're popular. They're getting a lot of volume. Now they want to get themselves in front of people who have more money so they can get more investment. And they jump the stock up by doing a reverse stock split. So always be leery of that when you see billions of shares. Market cap for the company is a mere 1.3 million with 1.4 billion shares. Financials for the company. What the heck is that? All right, over the last 4 years, they haven't even broke $100,000. 2022, they did 1.5 million. Where the heck did that come from? And why didn't they pay anything for it? They were paying something for the little that they made. I don't know what that is. Quarterlies. I don't know why that's missing. Can't answer these questions. Again, at least now we're doing 55 a quarter and not 55 annually. I mean, so that's 4 times her revenue. That's a 400% increase. So she is jumping to 55, down to 28, back up to 35. Sometimes she's bringing home profit. Sometimes she isn't. Balance sheet for the company. Not much in the bank. 26,000. 1.1 million in assets. Whew. Thought for sure we had more liabilities. 300,000. So we do have positive stockholder equity of just under $1 million. So they're making about that much money, and we got about that much equity, and they're making about that much profit. So it isn't bad. They are in the black. Take a look at our disclosures. I'm sure I was here, but it never hurts. 2017. Well, what do you get with Pinks? No filings. QB, you start to get your filings. You get audited financials. Pinks, boy, oh boy, folks, I'm telling you, you're dealing with the twilight zone here. You see one thing, but something else is happening. You always got to be careful. So that does it for IDVV from my vantage point. Let's take a look at this from Taylor's vantage point.
Okay, so we looked at this on July 11th and then 3 weeks ago right here on August 1st. So I had all these already marked off. This was like it's 52-week low, and then you can see here when we stair step down. This right here is your favorite 001. This top line.
Yes.
And then yeah, and then here was like a good support, and this was like its final support. And you can tell that it has actually respected these. Comes down to either here, occasionally here,
Yep.
but it will respect that 007 and 006. So ever since this latest pop on July 1st, it has really stayed in between just right here. I mean, it has gone at its lowest 0006 to um, 001. Occasionally it'll pop up to 0011, but I believe I'll have to look, but I think those are pre-market or after hours, which we can't trade because it's OTC.
That's
So
right.
so as you can see, it's just still right there. There's really nothing super exciting that happened as far as I know. I mean, okay, well, I guess it did come down here and consolidated a little bit. That's why we look at these other, let's see. So it looks like Friday we were down here. Okay, so yeah, like this it'll pop up. This is during pre-market. All these brown ones are pre-market. So I guess if you were able to get in on this on Friday or Monday, then you'd be in a little bit better shape. But
Notice there, don't move yet. Right where we started to get our climb, you can see as soon as that 20-day SMA came underneath everything and started to turn up, watch your 20s, folks. The 20 has a lot of persuasion on these charts, even on the
oh,
SPY. When you see that SPY or the 20 start turning up and the price is above it underneath the strong SMA, you'll normally get a big push because of the 20 coming up. As soon as the 20 gets close to that next SMA, that's the surge. It'll come down normally. But watch that 20. That's a nice run right off of that rising 20.
yeah, that's the green line for anyone who's
Yeah. As soon as she
looking.
went flat. Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually a good point. This is on the 1 hour. So I like the 1 hour a lot. It tends to give a lot of good information.
yeah.
You can see this 200 is really flat. And once it got up over that, it's really been respecting that, which is good.
It's looking
Now
good.
we're up
She's
here
been
above
down
the
to
9 again.
9. She's
Hmm?
not, she's bouncing off of the 9, which means she's
Right.
real light. She doesn't even need the support, but we got to watch it because she starts climbing too fast. That 9-day gets too far away from the 20-day. They got to close that gap. You're going to find a dip. Dips are healthy. A bouncing stock uphill is exactly what we're looking for. Rocket
Right.
stocks, scalp them. Get that gain, get out, wait till it drops, get back in and ride up the hill normally.
Only thing I have not seen it really hold very long above that 001 mark. That's what I've been looking for since we've been looking at this. I mean, it will pop up above it, but it will not hold. It comes right back
So
down. This is
that's
a
our
really good
strong
resistance.
resistance. If we can get over that 001 and
Yes.
bounce on top of it, that's when I'd be looking for a nice surge.
I agree. About it for
Good
that one.
chart. Good chart.
Yeah.
Jumping on to the next stock then. You got a little momentum going here. All right. Excuse me. Here we go. LGVN. This came to us from I Have Become Death. Life of the party. I'm telling you, don't let a name trick you. LVGN, Long Everin Inc. finished today at $2.63. She was up 2.73% today. She's a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. So what is Long about? They are a clinical stage biotechnology company developing cellular therapies for aging related and life-threatening conditions in the United States and Japan. The company's lead investigational product is Lomacel B, an allogenic stem cell formulation sourced from the bone marrow of young, healthy adult donors. It is conducting phase 1, phase 2A, and phase 2B clinical trials in various indications, meaning each trial for an indication, headache, that's one indication. Back pain, that's 2 indications. Same drug, but you said it works on different things. So they got to give it a trial for each thing. They are working also with this drug for Alzheimer's disease and hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Now, really, it is all about that drug, the Limocel B. I've gone back here to, man, I'm only back to July 10th. There's a lot of news here, but most of the news is about how drugs are progressing. The company announces, as a matter of fact, without diving into all of these pieces of news, this business update, I just remembered that, saved us some time, which came out on the 14th, talks about all of these in one piece of news. God, I love business updates. And it's still highlighted. Loving it. So they tell us that they have just received positive data from their phase 2 clinical trial, Clear Mind, evaluating the Lomacel B in Alzheimer's disease. This has been presented in their places where they get it out. Along with that, the U.S. FDA just granted Lomacel Regenerative Medicine Advanced Therapy designation, along with Fast Track designation for the treatment of mild Alzheimer's disease. When there are no drugs out there to help with the disease, FDA kind of smooths the road out for you. Fast Track, Orphan, Regenerative Medicine. These are shortcuts, if you will. They take time off of the test so that you can get it out there quicker. Since there's nothing out there yet, if this works half-assed, let's get it on the market. Phase 2 clinical trials in another drug evaluating Lomacel B in rare pediatric disease, HLHS, has achieved 70% enrollment. They've just started another trial for another indicator. Strengthened their board of directors with the election of 3 experienced industry veterans at the annual meeting. Directors are important. These are your think tank. These are the people that not only bring you ideas, but make decisions when there's an argument between the big management. They squash problems. They're unbiased. They get paid to be directors, but not a lot of money. They get paid just to be loyal so that they can't be putting their services out elsewhere. And the company has financing transactions and warrant exercises in July that raised them $15.3 million so they can continue to pay for these trials. God, these trials are expensive. These research and development biotech pharmaceutical companies need money like you would not believe. First, you got to find that nugget of gold. You got to dig into the ground. You need the machines. You need all the fuel, all the people. It takes time and money. And then when you finally find it, you've got to put it through the trials. And they cost millions of dollars and take anywhere from 5 to 8 years to get a drug approved. And you're paying all along the way and haven't got any money. Where do you get it? Big investors, little investors. Well, they got a bunch from their big investors. They got $15.3 million with warrant exercise. That increased our float. Warrants are stock that you can trade now, make your money on them, just get in, get out. But they're coupons. If you buy them and hold them, you can use them in 3 to 5 years to buy a stock for super cheap. It could be $1 right now. The warrant says you can buy it at $1.25 anytime.
Hey, John, you're still showing the chart, just so you know.
Oh,
I can't do anything about it from my end.
I'm sorry, man, folks, my bad. Boring, boring, boring.
It was just a couple minutes. Yeah, I didn't even.
I'm sorry, folks. My bad. Homage to you. At least I was giving you some good information there. I was. The warrants are going to increase because the warrants are exercised 3 to 5 years down the road. The stock may be $1 today. The warrant says you can buy a share at $1.25. Well, who wants to buy a warrant at that sort of deal? Well, in 3 years, the stock could be $25. That warrant guarantees you the right to buy a share for $1.25. This is how Warren Buffett makes millions, maybe billions of dollars. He always asks for free warrants every time he invests in a company because it's free profit down the road in companies that grow. So we've got, and they say that money should carry them through 2025. I told you they need a lot of money to pay for these trials. That should carry them till 2025. So again, there was all the information. Their phase trials, they have been granted advantages for their Lomacel. Phase 2 is seeing how well the drug works. Once they get through phase 2, they go to phase 3. Phase 3 can take up to 5 years because you are competing against every drug out there that does the same thing yours drug does. And they're looking for the top dog. If there's no other competitors, though, You get through phase 3 real quick, and then you get on the market and people start to be able to buy your drug and the company's making money. So what was the relative volume around LGVN today? Well, she's down a lot. She fell from 7.7 million down to 2 million. Ow. Share structure? Well, that's not bad. Now, this is as of May. They just did that deal in July with the warrants. So I don't know how many warrants that is. We'd have to dive into one of these filings and figure it out. And I don't know which one it is.
You're still showing the chart.
How am I still showing the chart?
I'm just looking at it on StreamYard. There you go.
Urgh! Oh my God, I'm going to wring my neck. That's it. I'm fired. I'm docking my pay. I've got extra work chores tonight. Holy cannoli. People, please forgive me, folks. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay.
No, those 2 people watching us. I was apologizing to them.
No, they understand. They understand.
Glad somebody does, because I don't. Oh my God, it just got warm in here. Do I seem red to you? Well, that's why. Okay, so as I was saying, their volume has really dropped today, folks. I mean, way down from 7 million down to 2 million. Their share structure is decent, but we don't know what it really is. I need to dive in and see how many warrants they exercised. If there was a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 warrant per share, every warrant is a new share. That's how much our outstanding share count has gone up. And I have no clue. Maybe it was 1 million, maybe it was 10 million. Right now, we've got a great share count, 4.8 million. I love that. If they added another 5 million to it, yes, we just diluted the share count by 50%. So if we seen a drop somewhere on the chart, that was probably the day the warrants got exercised, because the float just went and exploded. Market cap, well, that's going to be different too, because that's all based on the outstanding share count. You multiply all of these by the price. So if we've got more shares, we've got a different market cap. I don't know what it is. Financials. All right, looking over the last 4 years with those 3 zeros, we had 5.6 that dropped down to 1.3, 1.2, 700,000. She's falling hard and fast. Profit, yeah, she's still bringing in profit, but as you would expect, it's crashed right along with the revenues. Her quarterlies, well, something's changed here. We were at 217 a year ago and falling. At the end of last year, we were at 63 and then bounced to 500,000. And we're just under 500,000 in the last quarter, bringing home stronger profit. I mean, we were losing money there. So it looks like a chart in a bounce routine right now. Balance sheet for the company. We got about 12 million in the bank, 19 million in assets, 4 million in liabilities. So we've got just about 15 million in stockholder equity. Little bit of revenue, little bit of profit, little bit of stockholder equity. We're in the black. All right, we got a lot of Form 4s here, and I did go through them all. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock. Well, they can do that in a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons. We are primarily interested when they buy them or sell them. Up here, you'll see who it was, who they are in the company, the date that they did the transaction, and then right here in the middle is all the juice. The code, we need a P for a purchase or an S for a sale. Any other letter is something else. Maybe it's important and relevant. I just don't pay a whole lot of mind to them. Here will be how many shares and how much they paid or sold for. Now, if you're interested in explanations, you can get some down here. These are all dealing with restricted stock for some reason. So none of these Form 4s are purchases or sales. We've got an 8K here. 8Ks are material changes. You can normally just come down to the headline there and see what's going on. First couple of paragraphs will tell you what's going on. This has to do with their financial results, which just came out. Financials for the company, well, they're not really making a whole lot of money, so there's not going to be a lot in there. But if you want information about where they're at with their drugs, trials, who's investing in the company, institutional investors, things like that, this is what you want to know when it comes to research and development companies. Dive into the financial. That's the best place for that information. All right. Now that you've been looking at a chart for 30 minutes and I gave you 3 minutes of this, let's give you a chart again. Ay caramba. I'm trying. My button's sticking. I think I'm going to blame my mouse. Yeah, I got a bad mouse.
Okay, yeah, blame the mouse. I should have caught that. But anyway, so here's LGVN on the daily chart. One thing, I don't know if you mentioned it, probably not. There was a reverse split over here, 1 for 10 on March 27th. So all of these back here, like way back from before March 27th, those numbers are not going to be accurate. So
Yeah, the best way to think of it, folks, they didn't just multiply the stock forward, they multiplied the whole chart. The
yeah,
whole
so
bloody chart got multiplied by the split for whatever sense that
yeah,
makes.
so you see up here, like the things at $20, that's completely inaccurate. So just so you know.
Just so
Anyway,
you know, because they
yeah,
won't tell you.
well, it's
You have to
confusing.
know this
So
stuff.
yeah, I'd like to bring it up because it's confusing. If someone
It
looks
is.
at that, it's like, oh, I can go up to $20. Okay, well, no. Anyway, so a couple things here. I was noticing whenever these big spikes in volume happen and we have a big jump like here, kind
Yeah.
of comes down into this triangle formation and then pops again. And that's
Ah,
what I'm suspecting could be happening here. But we had a little false one here. But we haven't seen the volume like we have here and here.
right.
See
So
how
the
these
volume would be the
the
key
volume
ingredient we'd be looking for now.
volume there, it's not here. So we're not really seeing it. That's why it's
Now,
getting
keys in
stuck.
place. If that volume came in tomorrow, this could be another. I mean, the
Yeah,
next bar could be
absolutely.
even bigger. The next bar
Absolutely.
could be huge.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I'm seeing it here and then here. Even this little one here went all the way up to over $4, well over $4. Let's see what it's looking like on the 1 hour. What those pops look like. I think this is the. Let's see. This was that little one, I believe. Yeah. So looks like it was during pre-market hours. It's going to be those pops. So look for that. This was right at 3 o'clock a.m. Central Time, and we bounced up, and then it just fell right after that. So if you want to get in on this, pre-market is the way to go, and we can do it because we're on the Nasdaq. And same goes for here, but not quite at the very beginning. This was still pre-market. This was 6 or 7 and 8 a.m.
Yeah. So
Central Time.
unless you're getting up or live in California and can stay up late, you need to put your order in as a standing order, or just buy it now, buy it after market, and be ready for that jump. Though
Hmm.
we don't see any telltale sign it's going to happen. She's just in the right place. But if the
No,
volume comes in, you could have a hell of a launch here.
yeah,
That is impressive. Those launches, those are big.
right, right. I think so too. Let's see what 15 minute. Let's see what it did just the last couple days since we're day trading here.
That's right.
So yesterday we had, it looks like a pretty good run from 229 to 258. That's pretty good. The last half of the day. Um, After hours and pre-market kind of flat, and then today it right at open a big jump, and then we kind of fell. And then when we fell, it was back down to almost actually about 50%.
And it looks like the 50-day SMA she respects. She
Yes.
hangs around that, bounces off of it. So this is it's a point of consideration. It's worthy of being put on your watch list. She's showing signs of wanting to jump. Boy, when she gets in the mood, she moves hard. LVGN, I'm aware of this stock. I've just not been looking at it here this last week. I've had so many other stocks we've been watching. This one is starting to warm up. I like the 200, starting to change trend now. The 200 haul is finally starting to climb.
I don't know why this thing keeps muting me. Sorry. Whatever I said, if you didn't hear it, my bad.
We didn't know. So
it keeps doing it. Okay. So we said what we needed to say. You were basically saying what I was saying over top of me while I was muted. So it worked out.
It would have been great. You'd have been on screen and they'd have heard my voice coming out of your face.
Okay.
So I'm having video technical difficulties, and Taylor's having audio technical difficulties. We are covering a gamut here. We don't get greedy.
I never even noticed until you're talking over me, and I'm like, wait, why are you talking over me? Oh, I'm muted. Okay. There you go. Next.
Yeah, we got it this time. This
Okay.
is the last stock we have pre-done. This is RVLCF Rivalry Corporation. This was brought to me by Valentino Prasuti. I'm getting better at it. The more often I say it, the better. All right. RVLCF is on the OTC. She's on the QX. Hey, what a change. The QX, folks, you brag about that. This is the best tier on the OTC. It is just a block away from the good neighborhoods, the major exchange. They give you all the same filings that you get on the major exchange. So they are super transparent, super trustworthy. The QX is where the best of the OTC go. You've got big companies up here. You got L'Oreal, Heineken, Adidas, Nintendo, EasyJet. A lot of these companies are there because they can't get on the major exchange. They're foreign companies. You've got a lot of banks up on the QX because they have less than 2,000 traders, the members of their banks. And if you have less than 2,000, they don't charge you to be on the OTC. So why uplist? So they stay down here. So there's a lot of very strong companies on the QX. Definitely one to be trusted. Got all of our validated information over here. Independent directors listed. You list them here on this site when you are serious about uplisting. You're not just talking about it. We have plans. No, you filed something somewhere, sometime. So they've got it listed. Now, I don't know if they just came from the QB up to the QX or if they're thinking about going from the QX up there. But they do have an F behind them. And let's see here. That means they're foreign. That F on the end means they're a foreign company. They're out of Canada, so I don't think we should have any problems with them uplisting to an American site. So Rivalry Corp, they own and operate a sports betting and sports media property offering regulated online wagering on esports, traditional sports, and casinos for the next generation of bettors. It is also a variety of originally developed products, including Quest, a gamified on-site betting experience, and an original casino game called Rush Lane. These are for business to consumers and business to business opportunities. I jumped over to their website to see what it looked like. I'm hoping this is just advertising and they're just trying to be cute. This is all 8K. I'm talking about 8-bit. You know, this is the computers we had back in the 90s here. I hope that's not what you see when you're working on their slot machines. I'm sure they've got the highest graded machines going because when you look at their money, they seem to be doing pretty bloody well on finances. Now, let's see here. Looks like I got a couple pages opened up. And nothing is highlighted. Why aren't you highlighted? Let's see what we got over here. All right, lost all my highlights. Looks like I got a few extra pages. Yes, I do. Wonder why I have all those extra pages. We're still investigating. All right. That was something I wanted to get to from the news. Looking at our news, I've gone back here to the end of May. The company reports first quarter 24 results and expands into crypto segment through Rivalry Token. I have no idea what a Rivalry Token is, and let's see if they give us some information because it's probably not going to be up there. When did this come out? May. It should be. All right, the betting has handled $94 million, up from 11. Betting, which is the name of their app, handled $94 million worth, which is up 11% from the last quarter of 2023. Gross gaming revenue was at 7.7 million. That's up 20%. Net revenue 4.5, up 51%. Gambling sites are doing real well, folks. I've seen a lot of gambling companies doing quite well. Company achieves record net revenue margin, reflecting the success of Rivalry's ongoing margin enhancements. They're increasing how much profit, which means they're giving less jackpots, right? Isn't that the way it would work? Actually, I think this company licenses out the rights. They create the games, and then they license them, let other people use them, put them on their sites, and the company makes a percentage of how much the company is making off of them. And the company reveals strategic expansion into Web3 gambling segment. This is blockchain with Rivalry Token and extended cryptocurrency payment experience. Some more due diligence will be necessary to see how the blockchain gambling is working over there. What other news do we got? They are at conferences. They're at a gaming summit. And they had a management change which if it's important to you, I got it here somewhere, right there. Rivalry has announced that Demi, whoever, will assume the role of interim chief financial officer effective August 16th, replacing Kajeda. A lot of times this is a big deal. I mean, if you're following a company and you know that the recent CEO is not doing a great job, you get pretty excited seeing a new person come in. So I don't know enough about the company to say if that's good news or bad. All right, let's take a look at the relative volume for Rivalry Core. She's up today, going from roughly 5 million shares as an average daily over the last 30 days to 6.2 million. Share structure, 65 million outstanding. Insiders own about 7 million. We get the rest, 57 million, which isn't bad. Anything under 100 million is doable. Market cap for the company, we're at about 6.6 million. What are the financials? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're doing well. Gambling's doing very, very well. 4 years ago, we weren't even at 500,000. More than doubled that the next year. Oh, my God. Then went 600% up the following year. And now we've more than doubled that the year after. But where's 2023? Let's see here. Did I have it? 2023, 2024. Right there we go, folks. All right, so we're looking at the most current financials for the company. Current assets. We have, as of March of this year, not June, March, we have about 11 million. I can't even highlight that. Okay, so we got about 11 million. Total liabilities is about 14 and a half. So we are down about $3.5 million on this company. Net revenue. Let's see. As of March last year, we were at 5.4. We dropped down to 4.5. And let's see, was there anything else we really needed to know here? No, not that we're going to get from this vantage point. Let's jump into the balance sheet, see if there's anything over here. No, it reads the same way. Boy, she's all over the place, though. 13, 10. Okay, yeah, we are positive. I thought I saw a stock that had negative when it was actually supposed to be positive. Wanted to make sure this wasn't that company. And let's see. Looking at our SEC filings, we got no filings here whatsoever. And our most recent filing for financials came out on May 30th. That is the discussion. There's the actual one. Again, if you want information about the company, you're going to get as much information as you're going to get, especially with these companies. Now, this is the QX. Why don't we have 10Ks over here, 10Qs? That's a bit interesting. That's scratching my head now. I want to see up here at the top what this says. No 10K, no 10Q. Why not? Well, that's a bit interesting. You're supposed to have 10Ks and 10Qs when you're on the QX, but I don't see that there. Very interesting. So she finished today at 36 cents, and look at that jump. What the 250% jump. I overlooked that, didn't I? So we have no real catalyst. We had they're to report their financials August 29th, which is a week away. A week away. They had their summit 2 months ago. So we've got no fresh news here. Nothing that should have caused that thing to jump that big today. We've got no filings to consider. So unless they put a tweet out, I don't know. I mean, when you see 250% gain, it went up 25 cents, folks. It went up 25 cents, and it's at 36 cents right now. I really want to see this chart. So all I see as a catalyst, folks, is that she's got her financials coming out on the 29th, and we expect them to be good. That's all I see right now. I want to see more. I got to give it to Taylor. Oh, we can't hear you. Okay. So I'm going to mouth for Taylor.
I'm right here. Oh my gosh. Silly thing. Okay, I had to go to the 1 hour because on the daily chart it's not showing up. It's showing down here. So let's say 1 hour. This is, by the way, this is really wonky chart because it's skipping days. I'm not sure why that is. You can see it starts back in November 2021, but there are days that are just randomly skipped. So that's why this is not, it's not the best chart but
Right.
you
I
can
don't
see
know
it.
why that would be. Normally, if you go to the expert market, you can come off. I mean, most of the time, even if you have inactivity, you're still on the market. You just flat. So I
Yeah,
don't know what it's about.
like I'm on the 1 hour chart. It's showing like this day. If you look at the very bottom, it's kind of hard to see, but this says like this candle will
Where's
say
your
Monday,
cursor?
August 19th. This
We
one's Tuesday. This one's Thursday, and this one's
can't,
Thursday.
we can't see your cursor.
It's right
Click,
here.
click.
There's nothing to click. It's down here. You can read it in the bottom.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
was looking
saying
for your arrow. I couldn't see your arrow pointing things
right
out.
here.
There it is. Now we see
Oh,
it.
okay. So Monday, and then it'll Tuesday, Thursday, Thursday. There's nothing from Wednesday. So that's why it's very strange. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Okay, so there you go. So here's our little 200. It's very short because there's not a lot of data. I don't know why. But here we are. These are Heikinashi candles, believe it or not, on the 1 hour chart. Um,
Good.
but it's not exactly, because it's missing days, so it's kind of weirding
Well,
me.
forget the missing days. It doesn't look good. She's dropping and
Yeah,
dropping on her way down.
yeah, it's just been kind of following all these. I mean, except for this point here where it crossed. I mean, these are just lined up the opposite. We got 9, 21, 50, 200, and there's not even a 200 up here. The daily chart is even weirder. Like it's just
Yeah, with the price underneath every SMA and every
yeah,
SMA pushing downhill, to me it
yeah.
looks like the sled ride's got a ways to go before we hit the bottom.
I mean, this is the big picture. This is literally all I have. Daily chart all the way down to went all the way down to looks like 3 cents
And,
right
and,
here.
and
Very
so now,
odd.
so now look at today. It had a
Let's go to
250
15 minute.
because
15 minute. This is what I'm looking at.
I want to see a 250% jump. I mean, because I'm it's like not standing out to me as
Okay,
being all
right.
that big.
10 cents. 10 cents right here.
Yeah.
And then this is 36 cents right here at the top of this.
Wow.
The best I got. This doesn't I mean, but what's weird is like the 15 minute versus the 5 minute. Look, it's exactly the same. So something's up. Because look at this right here. This candle says 8:30. This candle says 10:10. And this is
Oh,
the 5 minute chart. Very odd. So something's going on with either trading view or I can't explain it. I wish I could explain it better. This isn't good enough data for me to even tell you what's
yeah,
going on.
I mean, the chart looks horrible, but she had a 250% jump. We
Let's
know
try the
she's
1
making
minute.
money. She's got financials coming out.
I
It
mean, all of
looks
these
like
look exactly the same. They all look identical. Every
it
time
looks
frame. I
like a
don't know.
hard gamble to me because you really can't judge the chart. I mean, I know it had 250% jump today, but I don't know if it's even going to trade tomorrow. It
Yeah,
might even be
even on
there.
this is the 1 minute chart, and it says 1013. This is 10 cents. This goes up to 35 cents. And this is the 1 minute chart.
Chart.
So something is wrong. That doesn't sound right.
It looks the same. Every chart looks the same.
Every time frame looks exactly the same.
We have now entered into the twilight zone.
This is except for the 4 hour, it changes on the 4 hour. And it doesn't even give me any real data on the 4 hour. This is the pre-market. I
Me,
don't know what's going on. This is a weird chart. I'm sorry, I can't help.
I would put this on my watch list just to see on the day of their financials, the 29th. That's when I'd start watching it. Honestly, right now, it looks like it's in a serious downtrend. Why it bounced, I don't know. But can you count on bounces like that? Can you plan them? No. So this isn't one of those stocks you want to try to grab that big bounce again. As I said, the only catalyst is on the 29th. That's when I'd watch it. Between now and then, I'm not probably going to look at it once.
Yeah, very strange. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
So that brings us to the end of all of shut you down. That brings us to the end of everything we had pre-done. So now we're going to go to Taylor. Taylor,
Okay.
did you find 2 stocks that you think we should be sharing with our investors?
Yes, I think the first one we can do is Holo, HOLO.
Hello. Hello, Holo. Holo was hot today. Yes, she was. Over in our Discord group at Penny Boys, I've been spending more time over there. I spend the morning 2 hours over on Twitter giving you guys everything I can give you, and then I bring you some plays over there. But I'm spending a lot of time in the Discord, and we are finding these plays. A couple of us people that are with our Discord group, and then everybody else. And we bring these hot plays in, and then we just start playing them. And Holo was one of them today. We had fun with Holo. Holo, micro cloud hologram, finished today at just a little over 69 cents. She was up 32% at the end of the day. She's a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. What is Holo about? Microcloud hologram engages in the research and development and application of holographic technologies. They have all sorts of holographic technologies. Honestly, if we were to start to talk about it, we would be here for quite a while. Go over to their website. You will get a lot of information. Let's get the general information first before we pop over to the news and the filings. Relative volume is way up today, jumping from 35 million shares a day up to 161 million. You got yourself close to 5 times their normal volume there. Share structure for Holo. Wow. We got ourselves a low share count. Now, this is only up until...
You want to share a screen?
Did I do that again?
There we go.
God almighty. I'm going to lose viewers this way. Holy freaking cow. Okay. All right, as I was saying, our volume today, really nice, folks. We got a 5 times kick up there, 35 million to 161 million. Our float is really low if they haven't put any more shares on the market since February, if there haven't been any warrants kicked in. This is on the NASDAQ. They could easily have warrants. They do, right there. HOLOW. Warrant is going for 5.5 cents, and it was up 7.2% today. When a stock that has warrants rises, this is surprising. Now, I would be interested to look at the warrant just out of curiosity, because when the stock goes up, like this one did, 32%, it is not surprising to see the warrant go up 80, 100, 200, 300%, maybe even thousands of percent. Warrants move faster because they have less liquidity. There's bigger gaps between the ask and the bid, so it starts to bounce up that hill very bloody quick. And when it does get liquidity, it is hot. Normally, you only need about 10,000 to 100,000 shares to get a warrant to move. Stocks, they need millions of shares, don't they? Okay, let's see what we can learn here from the financials. Are they making money? They were, they are, but they're losing it. They popped from 56 million in 21 to 70 and then dropped all the way down to 28 million in 23. We've got about 10.5 million of that as profit, though. Quarterlies, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We're missing a few of them. That's 2022, 2022, 2023. These are old. We have nothing recent here whatsoever. What about our balance sheet? How recent is that? That gets us up to the end of 2023. Then, which is, 8 months ago, for bloody sake, we had 17.7 million in the bank, 22 million in assets. Liabilities are way down there, 2.7, which gives us stockholder equity of about 20 million. Now, let's see if we can find some catalysts here. First thing I want to see, I bet it's going to be in a 6K, isn't it? 20F. That's going to be their financial. Let's see if we can get to some green pages real quick here. Revenues, RMB. Well, by golly, I don't even know what an RMB is. I mean, I know what it is. I just don't know what it converts to dollars. And again, these are old. What the heck? Don't we have anything recent for this company? When did that one come out? Well, it was for 2023. So this should be the most recent financial, folks. But I got to tell you, 20F is a foreign financial, and they're not as easy to read as your standard financial 10K, 10Q. There's a lot of international rules and stipulations that get thrown in there, so it's really cluttered with a lot of information. 815, this just came out. Let's see if we can get something easy to read here. A material definitive agreement They've entered into a purchase agreement for, wow, looks like $30 million purchase agreement there. Some more reading needs to be done. Closing date, purchase notes, aggregate principal. I see another one here for 18 million. Not quite sure what's going on here, but they've got some investors that are going to take a promissory note and give them some money. We'd prefer them to take some shares, but we're working with promissory notes. How about this 6K? Announces receipt of minimum bid price notice from the NASDAQ. Oops, they're in hot water. They're at 69 cents. They've been underneath the dollar for too long. They have to get that price up for 10 days consecutively. They have to close. They have until February 10th of 2025. So they've got a good ways to go. We are moving up right now, and the company is hot right now. So we could break a dollar, but she's got to break a dollar for 10 days and stay over a dollar. Once you break it, you got to stay up there. Let's see. Anything else we can share here? This could be a financial, actually. 28 million principal amount of unsecured promissory notes. Geez, there's another one. 28 million, 30 million, 18 million. So we've got a lot of people willing to loan this company money, if you will. Yeah, this is going to be all about that loan. And because it's an international loan, it is a lot of information to cover. So that basically covers everything there. The news is the only thing we got left. Let's see if we can find that catalyst. Geez, the last piece of news. Nope, that's not ours. God, I see nothing here. I see absolutely no news. Let's take a real quick look here just to check. We could go to Twitter, but you know, Google's better, especially if you use your filters. You get in there fast, you can find what you're looking for. Go over to your news, click that sort by relevance and bring up the date. Let's see, we've got anything here from MicroCloud. No news. Nope, they're just talking about it. That's a week ago. So we have no news. Now, I don't have any idea. Honestly, I don't know what the heck had her running today. We don't see any new news. We don't have any fresh filings. Maybe something over at Twitter. I'm not going to run over to Twitter right now, but there could be a site for them there. They could have said something. That'll get a stock running in a heartbeat. No doubt about that. So let's take a look at that chart now for ticker HOLO. How come I remember to turn you on and I forget to turn me on?
So I'll just look at the big picture real quick. This is the daily chart on regular candles. So you can see we had a stock split 1 for 10 in February. So anything after this is accurate. Anything before that is not accurate. So it's going to say the 52-week high is like 100 and something. That's not accurate, but it was at $98. And it was for a few days, even like in the 30s, 40s, you know.
No
so
kidding.
it did jump up there. That was after the stock split. So that is accurate. So
Wow.
this gets interesting. So when we looked at this, actually, wait, if we looked at it, yeah, this was after the stock split. I'm wondering why we looked at it here, because it was $8 at this point. We looked at it on the 14th of March.
I see what you're saying, because we look at penny stocks.
Right. That's why I'm kind of like,
Maybe
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, well, maybe on your daily chart it shows the high, but if you go down to your shorter time frames, it was probably dropped that day. It was way back.
It could have, yeah, possibly, yeah. But anyway, since then, I had some things marked off. I had this one at 679 at the, well, all these lines are still, these lines that I had marked off are still, corresponding with these candles. So I'm kind of wondering, well, I'll have to go back and look. So just forget what I just said. Anyway, we came down below that. We did look at it in July. So here in a second, I'll zoom in even more. But this was its all-time low at the time, which was 55 cents. But since then, it has gone down to 28 cents. And that was just last week, like it was either the 13th, 14th, or 15th. I'm not sure. But then since then, we've come up even above where that previous 52-week low was. Now we're at like 66 cents. So let me zoom in a little bit here. So here's the daily, but let's go to 1 hour. Okay, so here's what's been going on since.
Looks like she's getting her bounce on.
Yeah, look at this.
See, now
And
that
these are
looks
regular candles too, so this is very accurate of what's going on. This is a better representation, in my opinion, of what's going on. So we have bounced off this previous low, which was right at like 28 cents. So this was its previous low. It looks like it started running near the end of the day on Monday, this past Monday. And it continued to run into after hours, all the way up to 69 cents, which we did hit again today. It has come back down. It reached this, which is the 50, and just took off from there. And it has been riding the 9 ever since. Looks like right at the end of the day yesterday, and has continued to run.
it's looking great for a continuation. Your 9,
Absolutely.
20, and 50 are evenly spaced, all
Mhm.
going in the same direction, getting a strong current going. You've now got the 200-day SMA. From that huge breakout, it went flat. From now, she's in an uptrend. She's starting to grow. And today's volume is beautiful. So I would definitely have this on my watch list tomorrow. I'd be up early. This stock is going to be
Yeah.
moving pre-market one way or the other. So if you can get up early, I would. You could catch a
Good.
big dip pre-market and then watch it rip the rest of the day.
You know, I really wouldn't be surprised. You can see right here, it looks like we have a cup forming. But you can catch that dip with the handle and it continues. Like right here at around the 55-cent area, if you could pick up something here, that would be a great way.
I think
Great area to pick up.
if you look at your 1 hour chart, you also see a cup and handle on that one.
This is 1 hour here.
Oh, that's it. Okay. And okay, then it was the 5 minute. I think we had a cup and handle on the 5
Let's
minute
look
as
at the
well.
5 minute. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, look at it. It did break out. Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, right there.
Here it is
Boom.
here. Looks like another one kind of here too. And look
Yeah,
how it's
we had
respecting the
somebody in
50.
Discord point that out to me. And it's like, yeah, we're waiting for a serious cup and handle.
This
That
is a
was,
good one right here, 5 minutes. So this was a really good one to play today. This would be nice if this happened again tomorrow.
yeah, we had fun with this today. We were all
Nice.
watching supports and resistances, getting our entries. We were scalping. You don't just
Nice.
ride it all day long. You start
Yeah,
selling
yeah.
some on the way up, putting money in your pocket. You know,
Mhm.
it's like when you go to the casino, you start winning, you better pull out a receipt out of that machine and put it in your pocket.
Mhm.
Put another 20 in. Don't let your winnings sit in their control. You control your winnings. You can always put it back in. Yeah, this was a great stock to play today, and I'm expecting it, just looking at that chart, to have some good, strong momentum tomorrow. I'd be watching it.
Yeah, I love how this is going right to the 50 on
Yeah.
the 5 minute chart. That looks really nice. This was a really hot, yeah.
You
Thank
picked
you
a
for
nice
whoever
one
brought
there.
that up. I think it was Brendan5 brought it up.
You the man. So you got another hot one you picked
I
for us
do.
today.
How about FFIE? Even though it's technically not a penny anymore.
I think it was this morning before
It was
the
this
day
morning,
started
so
out.
I think now it's like $8. Could be wrong.
And
Yeah.
we look for dips. You know, these stocks don't just go up, they do come down. We look for dips. We played this one too. I think we had about 3 stocks: AIRI, FFIE, Holo. We had about 3 or 4 stocks that were running today, and we were having a real fun time. And this one was another blast. This is Faraday Future Intelligent Electric. This is an EV company. They make cars, I don't know how many cars they got, but that's what they do. This is a company out of California.
Oh, you know what happened, John? It had a 1 for 40 reverse split on Monday.
Oh, right. So, you know, and this is what I say to people.
So that changed it.
After a reverse stock split, it's good to get in. You don't want to be there before it, though. That's, as far as I'm concerned, is getting raped. You're losing all your shares. It could probably fall as soon as the reverse happens. Then you get a buy-in opportunity and you get your climb if it's successful. And normally you got to be on a major exchange for these RSs to be successful. You have a pink do one, it normally just comes right back down and compounds your losses, which is really the most painful thing. So we did finish with 123% gains today, closer to 124. We were just over $8. We went up $4.45 today, folks. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. What was the relative volume around the company today? My God. She's normally doing under 500,000 shares a day on the NASDAQ. That is definitely under the radar. And EV companies ain't been getting much love. Today, she kicked it up to 152 million. Folks, that's over 300 times her average volume. Share structure for the company. Darn. All right. This looks to be the new float. It says it's just a couple days ago. So after that reverse stock split, we have got 11 million shares. I don't know what the float is, but it isn't going to be higher than that. So we've got ourselves a very low float now. Market cap, just about $40 million. Financials for Fife. Is they making any money? They just brought in Virgin Revenues at the end of 2023. Let's not get too excited. That $784,000 cost them $41 million. How do you stay in business like that? Wow. Quarterlies, they're all over the place. We were up to 500,000, down to 2,000, back up to 250,000. But look at the money we're losing. Folks, this is adding up. It's not like they're paying off all this debt. This stuff is adding up. This is horrific. I'm not liking this at all. Looking at the balance sheet, 1.3 million in the bank. Wow, $500 million in assets. That surprises me. Total liabilities is actually less. That surprises me too. So we've got stockholder equity in this company of 150 million roughly. So they're making revenues, but they're losing money hand over fist. But they have stockholder equity. It's a mixed bag of nuts. Take a look at our disclosures. Got an 8K here on the 19th. Quick glance down to this line. Look at the first two sentences. Faraday Future announces launch event date for China-US automotive bridge strategy. We'd have to do some more, but it's a deal with somebody in China. That's a big country. That could be a big deal. This one on the 15th, we're just poking our heads in. We'll let you do the serious due diligence. Right there is a stock split that Taylor just brought to our attention, 1 and 40. So we were looking at what, 40 million, 400. Yeah, 400 million shares is what they had before. And now we're down to 11 million. And then you got your most recent financial right here, which, let's see. Did they actually show us that over here in the quarterlies? Yeah, they did. How about that? They got that in there pretty bloody quick. So we had a huge surge today. Why is that? Did we have some news today that got everybody excited? I bet you this comes up blank. Oh, you little puppy. I knew you were going to do that. All right, let's grab that Faraday and see if we can get some information over here at Google real quick. I hate to walk away with nothing. When you see runs like that, something has got to be going on. Faraday soars, 103 as reverse. So they're pointing to the reverse stock split. So now you got to remember, what this did, folks, is it gave the shares more value. A 1 in 40 reverse stock split just made your shares 40 times more valuable than they were the day before. Now, of course, if you were holding the stock, that's not necessarily true. But if you buy in after the reverse stock split, you're buying a stock that everybody now sees is having 40 times more value than it did before. Now you weigh that up against the fundamentals of the company. Somebody did some weighing up and it came up looking pretty because she was flying today. We actually don't have a catalyst. We don't have any new deals, cars being put off, a new facility being built. It's strictly, we've got more value now in the company's shares. So let's go take a look now at the stock for Faraday. I got to get my buttons right here.
Okay, wait.
I
Wrong
need
one.
fur on this one.
I'm getting there. Hang on. I was looking at something else.
Put your clothes back on. She's married. She's got a husband.
Okay, here we go. I was trying to read something else that had to do with this. So I thought this was funny. So we looked at this in May. And you can see my arrow. I was pointing to the top of one of these candles. So you can see everything went up because that's no longer the price because the stock split, I guess, or this stock split, sorry, this recent one. So it was like that after this stock split. This was in March, 1 for 3. Then we had this one this is this week. So the one that we looked at in May, you can see it went all that was now shifted up. So, and
And
you can tell I marked off, huh?
for you math beginners, since we have 2 reverse splits here, it is
Yep.
3 times 40, which is 120. Now all the numbers on the chart have been multiplied by 120. So
Right.
if they had a high of $1 6 months ago, it was a high of $1. It says $120 now.
Yeah, exactly. Because
what good is that chart to anybody?
it isn't not anywhere before this. So now it's kind of messed up. But you can see where I had marked off $1 because we were looking for that dollar to come back to, and and so it's now like who cares? It's obsolete now. So let's look at the 1 hour chart. What's been going on since the stock split?
Oh.
There we go. So we had a nice volume day. So pre-market kind of flat, which is totally fine. And then actually, let's see what happened with regular candles. Yeah, there we go.
Look at that volume. Oh my God.
No, let's see. What was it? Let's see. I mean, it was in
when did that reverse stock split happen?
Monday, the 19th.
So it's been 3 days. So the stock has had value for 3 days and nobody's done jack diddly. And then all of a sudden today, everybody decides to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, the volume was 152 million today.
God.
Holy cow. So here's the volume today. So or what happened today. This is the 1 hour. So we started off, pre-market right before the big jump, it was like 355. And then we just ran all day. And now it's like a healthy pullback. And look at this on the 1 hour. We had the 9 crossing the 200. That's how much it's jumping.
Yep. Now I would expect it to come down to the 200 if everything's in control and bounce on it a couple of times.
Here's the 15-minute. Look at the first half of today. Oh my gosh.
We had fun. I mean,
yeah, this went from like 350 give or take all the way up here in the $8 range.
Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, folks, most action on the market happens up to about 10:30, 11. After that, it starts getting bouncy and iffy and crashy. But up to 10:30, 11, if you're going to catch a rocket ride, that's when you're going to do it.
I mean, look at these 15-minute candles. Like look how much of the body of these candles are. I mean, we opened a 15-minute candle at 5:37 and closed it at 6:24. That's quite a run. 15 minutes. Nice. And look at the volume on that.
Yeah, the volume is just incredible.
Yeah, so this is the ideal situation, 9, 21, 50, 200. And everything
now, in my opinion, it was a rocket stock today. She is now going sideways. The SMAs are starting to top off. I would expect a dip after all the fuel ran out of the rocket. You come crashing back down to earth to refuel.
And that's okay.
I'd be looking for at least a dip on that chart down to the 50. That's what I'd be looking for at least. I don't expect her to just start climbing again. She did have a reverse stock split. I haven't done the math for the fundamentals. But you can't say, well, the stock was $3. It has 40 times more value. That means it's worth $120. No, it's not that simple. It's a little more complicated than that. My point is, though, you got to take your gains when the gains come, and you can't expect a stock to go forever. And normally when I see a run like this, and as Taylor pointed out, the 9-day is just now crossing the 200. That's normally when the surge above the 200 stops. When the 220 is hitting, and it comes back down to not only hit the 200, but meet the 20. And then it goes again from that point. So that's what we're looking for at this vantage point. So I wouldn't jump in immediately. Probably going to be some pre-market activity. And if you get up at 8 or 9, you'll get a feel for what's going on by then.
Yeah, and look at this. This was the 5-minute. I was just curious what happened on the 5-minute today. I mean, look how far away it got even from the 9, pretty far, even on the 5-minute chart. Then we hit the 50 here and here. After hours, since the volume is a lot lower, I don't really, it counts obviously, but it's a little different than it is during trading hours. So we're below that now, but I mean, I'd be interested to see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to watch this one tomorrow. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, when you have that much volume in the picture, you can't expect everyone to just walk away tomorrow. Everyone's
Yeah,
going to come back and look. So if she's hot,
interesting.
she's probably got a captured audience to get her running.
Yeah, very good.
Well, we had a few glitches in the
Let's
system
see.
today. I mean, all sorts of things went wrong. I don't know why. We're human. We're not AI. You know, this
Right.
show isn't fabricated, folks. You can read everything. It's real language. I make mistakes. And trust me, I even have odor. So it's all real. Hey, seriously, though, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate your time, your questions. Haven't been able to keep up with your chat over here. That's what Taylor does. She's good at that. Look at that. I knew I was missing some chat. My God, you folks. I love it. Hopefully, you guys are sharing some information over there outside of what I'm talking about. The more information we can share in our community, the better we can all do. We're not just looking at stocks we own, we're looking at stocks we can all get into together. The more of us that invest at the same time, the better a stock moves. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate
Of
you being here. We'll see you
course.
next week in a matter of speaking. And
Of
we'll
course.
see all of you folks next week. Same place, same time, same beard. Bye, folks.
Bye.